For now, as we wait for more people to trickle in, put in the chat where you're zooming in from, anything exciting that you have going on this summer, or anything you just want to share, a favorite song that you've been listening to that is on repeat right now. All right, we have DC. Hello from Puerto Rico. We don't get a lot of Puerto Ricans, so that's exciting. Brazil, New York, Atlanta. All right. Let's see. Um, all right, give us just about another minute or so and we will kick things off. I keep trying to get this name. Okay. All right. Okay. Sharon, all set. And everyone, all right, so let's kick things off. Want to be mindful of time. Thank you again for joining us for Member School webinar number 7, the last one of our series for this application season. We will be going into our MAPS events, which is our in-person and virtual recruiting events next. So happy to share more information about that. But before I kick off with a brief presentation on the consortium, I'd like to start off with some introductions. So I'll go first. I'm your host for today, your MC. My name is Michelle Pava, and I'm the Vice President of Recruiting and Admissions for the consortium. I've been here for 8 months now, which is hard to believe. I started in January, and prior to that, I was a Senior Associate Director leading diversity recruiting initiatives for one of our member schools. And prior to that, I spent about 6 years in corporate America within the audit and advisory space and made a pivot into higher education because I'm passionate about demystifying the MBA process, making it more accessible for all. As a first gen student, I know what it's like to walk into a space and sometimes feel unfamiliar, like you don't belong. And we're all here to tell you that you do belong, and we're so happy to answer your questions. So, with that, I will hand it over to Noé to introduce himself.
Hi everyone, I'm Noé Valdovinos and I'm at the UW Foster School of Business. We're located in Seattle. I'm Associate Director for Strategic Partnerships and Inclusion. So Consortium is one of the partnerships that I manage and I'm really excited to be here and get to tell you guys a little bit about the Foster School of Business. Thank you for joining us tonight.
Awesome. And then Sharon, and if you want to popcorn it over, we could keep going that way.
Okay. Okay, hello everyone. Good evening. Sharon Thompson, Assistant Dean of Admissions here at the Fuqua School of Business, located in the beautiful Durham, North Carolina. I have been here with the business school for 27 years, and similar to Michelle, I'm first generation college, and I just have a deep passion for helping students find their path and transform their lives. So it's really a pleasure to be here with you this evening. And I will popcorn it to Katie.
Thank you, Sharon, and our neighbors up the road. My name is Katie Radall. I lead full-time MBA admissions at the University of North Carolina Kenan-Flagler Business School in beautiful Chapel Hill, North Carolina. And I am just thrilled to be kicking off another cycle. We are on day 2 of our orientation right now for the class of 2028. So the fact that we're already talking about 2029 is super exciting and hope to see a lot of you out on the road the next few months. Should I pass it on to Chris, Michelle?
Yes, please do.
Great. Chris, take it away.
Hey, Katie. Hello, everyone. My name is Chris Nwosu. I can't believe like a few months ago I was just a current student at UNC, but now I can say I'm a proud alum of UNC Kenan-Flagler Business School. I'm currently in my leadership rotation program at Delta Airline, and I'm looking forward to sharing my experience at UNC and what an amazing consortium program has been in my career.
Thank you. And last but not least, Jacqueline.
I'll talk to Jacqueline, yeah.
Yes, thank you so much, Chris. Hi, everyone. My name is Jacqueline, and similar to Chris, I am an alumni at the University of Washington Foster. I graduated about a month ago, and right now I'm doing my rotation at Microsoft, my marketing rotation at Microsoft. So super excited to be here and share my experience with all of you. Back to Michelle.
Thank you. Yes, that's right. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started with the presentation that I have. So I will be sharing a little bit more about our organization and our differentiators, kind of what makes the consortium unique and a great place to apply through. But if you would like further information, we have a YouTube channel that you'll see at the end that has longer information sessions, and we'll also have some upcoming events. So just know this is not the last time that we should be seeing each other. Okay, so to talk a little bit about who we are, at a core, the consortium exists to expand access and increase representation in business education and leadership. So we're looking for students of all backgrounds who have shown a commitment to broadening opportunity and creating pathways for others who have not had that before. And so the different ways that we look for mission alignment is through your academic, professional, or personal experiences. So if you've demonstrated a commitment to expanding access and increasing representation when you were an undergrad through affinity organizations or professional organizations, and you've continued that work through your career, it does not have to be business aligned. It can be in whatever respective industry you are in, including everything from nonprofit, the academic space, of course, business, healthcare, any endeavor that you have where you've demonstrated a commitment to reaching back and providing that same access for others. And so what we do is we connect you with some of the world's top graduate business schools, business organizations. We have a strong network of corporate partners, and we're also supported by a very broad network of alums, over 12,000 at this time, as well as students who are going to be your classmates, but also each of our member schools has consortium liaisons who are there. They're in leadership positions to help prospective students through the applicant journey and to also help you navigate the MBA space when you become a student. Touching a little bit on our history, we were founded in 1966 by Washington University's Professor Sterling Shade, who wanted to make an impact on the gap in equal opportunity employment when his research revealed that there were no African American males in management positions in Fortune 500 companies. So what he did was he created a consortium of leading universities. So it started with three founding schools, the Olin Business School and Washington University in St. Louis, Indiana Kelley School of Business, and the Wisconsin School of Business. And he started to advocate to increase African American enrollment in MBA programs. So the initial mission of the consortium was to give African American men the business skills and access needed to secure leadership positions in American organizations. Over the years, our mission has evolved. So it opened up around 1970 to include women, Hispanic Americans, and Native Americans as well. And now we welcome U.S. citizens, permanent residents, and DACA recipients of all backgrounds who, again, have demonstrated an alignment to our mission. From the three founding schools, we have grown into a powerful network over the year. We now have 22 member schools, over 12,000 alums, and an average of about 600 fellows in all of our incoming cohorts. So we traditionally support 2-year full-time MBA programs at all of our member schools, and Emory University Goizueta School of Business is the only program where we also support their 1-year and their 2-year MBA program. Now, let's say you're mission aligned, our 22 member schools are your target schools as well. Here are some of the benefits that you get by becoming a consortium member. It's, of course, the number one is a streamlined application process with access to 22 member schools. So I'll go over what the application process looks like in just a moment, but think of it as the Common App that you apply to in undergrad, where you're able to fill out our application as well as the program materials for the member schools that you're interested in, all in one place. And we take care of dispersing those materials to the member schools that you apply to. When you apply to us, you also become eligible for funding. And so our member schools have the discretion of allocating funding, and it is under the consortium fellowship nomination. So you'll be reviewed for anywhere from partial to full tuition funding as a consortium fellow. And every year we'll also host what we call an annual orientation program and career forum, also known as the OP. It's been 60 years of hosting OP, and what it does is open the door for you to get to know your classmates before school even starts and to network with corporate partners and possibly even secure early internship opportunities that would then allow you to have the space you need to be more present in your MBA program, take on more leadership roles, and be an active member of your community. And then last but not least, I keep saying it, but the network of over 12,000 alums that span across corporations globally is a huge powerhouse when you think about the ROI of an MBA, not just post graduation, but 5, 10, 20 years out. I was just emailing with someone who graduated in 1979 today, who is helping one of his mentees look into MBA programs. So just even thinking about how powerful that is a testament to the power of the consortium. Thinking about eligibility, again, you must be a U.S. citizen or a permanent resident. We did open the door for DACA applicants a few years ago, but you'll also have to make sure you're checking in with the school's programs policies regarding their own policy. You must hold a 4-year bachelor's degree and then demonstrate a commitment through our essays and our mission letter recommendation that I'll talk about in just a moment. So we are about 2 weeks away from launching our application. It opens on August 15th every year. So we are in the thick of making sure we're collecting all of our member schools' program materials, making those final touches to our essays to make sure that on August 15th you can log into our portal and start your application. Again, it is a streamlined process and the cost is also discounted, which means that you save not only time but money as well. So to apply to our application in one program, it's $150 and then it's $50 for each additional program that you add, and you can apply to as many schools as you want. Another important thing to know on this presentation is that we have 2 deadlines and all of our member schools adhere to our deadlines. So when you apply to the consortium, you don't have to worry about all the different schools round 1, round 2 deadlines. You just have to focus on our round 1 and our round 2. So our round 1 deadline is on October 15th and we don't evaluate on a rolling basis. So make sure that you take the time you need to hit submit by October 15th for round 1. And then round 2, you would want to hit submit by January 5th. We'll collect all your materials and then we will disperse them to the member schools and they will review them and determine if they invite you to interview or what the next steps are in their admissions process. Here's a snapshot of what it looks like to start an application. So you'll see that we'll ask you some streamlined information. We'll ask you to upload a resume that will disperse to all of the member schools. We'll ask you for official or unofficial transcripts, test scores, and some demographic information as well. And then as you fill that out, you'll then, be able to, I'll go back in a moment. You'll be able to then add all the different member schools that you would like to apply to into your program and fill out their program materials within hours. So now going back here, for our member essays, here are the essays that you'll have to fill out. The first essay is describing your short and long-term goals post-MBA. This is an essay that will go out to all of our member schools as well as core essay number 2, which is optional, and it'll allow you to elaborate on any parts of your application that you would like member schools to know more about. So typically that's if you have an employment gap, if you're not selecting a direct supervisor as your as your recommender, if you have a lower GPA, something that you'd like to elaborate on that you would like all member schools to see. And then lastly, we have our mission essays, which are a critical component of our review process, and they're only seen by us here at the consortium, where we'll ask you different prompts about what you've done to demonstrate a commitment. So it's not just who you are, but what you've done, how you plan to carry our mission forward as a leader in your MBA programs and beyond as well. And then we also have a streamlined letter of recommendation process. So we ask for a total of 3. 1 mission recommendation, which again will only be seen by the consortium. And for us, it is used to objectively evaluate what you've told us in your mission essays. So we ask for someone who's a member of your community, someone who has been able to firsthand see the impact that you've made on the communities you speak about, that would be able to objectively comment on that impact and that involvement that you've had. And then we have 2 professional recommendation letters that go out to our member schools. These should be again completed by a direct supervisor, a former direct supervisor, and it follows the traditional GMAT common letter of recommendation format. All right. So, touching on the review process, we're nearing the end here. The way it's an individual review process that occurs. And so, to give you an overview of how that happens, we will collect your mission documents, and here at the consortium, we will evaluate you for consortium alignment. Independently from the schools, we will determine if we admit you or deny you into the consortium. Despite admitting or denying you, all the schools are still receiving your materials and evaluating you for independent admission into their program. And so they'll perform a holistic review, decide if they invite you to interview, and they typically always release their admission decision at the same time as their traditional round 1 or round 2 decision deadline. Now, if you're accepted into the consortium and accepted into at least one of our member schools, that means you become a consortium fellow, which gives you the network benefits I spoke about, as well as consideration for the partial or full tuition consortium funding. All right. So there's so much more I can say. I imagine you may still have questions. Pop them in the chat. But here are some next steps for you to stay connected to us. As I've been mentioning, we have a lot of really exciting upcoming events called MAPS events. We're starting our first one next Thursday at 6 p.m. Eastern Time with our application launch event. This one is our only virtual MAPS event where we'll provide a deep dive into the application process. All of our 22 member schools will be there in their own booths to answer questions. We'll also have some panels, and then we're visiting 7 different cities across September and October. So please make sure to register if to come see us in person. Aside from that, follow us on Instagram. We've been very active on there, so you can stay in touch with what we're up to, what's coming up next. YouTube, we've recorded all of our prior member school webinars. We're recording this one as well, so you can find them all there. And if you have any questions, feel free to email us at recruiting@cgsm.org. All right. With that, I will hand it over to Katie to take us into UNC's presentation.
Awesome. Thank you, Michelle. And I'm going to start a timer because I'm guessing I can probably talk and talk. This is going to be a great exercise for all 3 of my 2 colleagues and I, see if we can get through all of our content or hit the highlights in the next 10 minutes. Well, as I mentioned, I'm Katie. I lead full-time MBA admissions here at the University of North Carolina, Kenan-Flagler. And we've met Chris, and I'm going to bring Chris into this conversation as we learn more about UNC Kenan-Flagler over the next, let's call it 9.5 minutes. So really quick, just want to talk about the culture of the University of North Carolina, which shows up every single day in the way that our MBA students engage and support and run through their MBA experience in Chapel Hill. It's very much rooted in the Carolina Way, which is a infamous leadership style developed by the once coach of UNC, Dean Smith, really to dedicate ourselves as students and learners to that team room, to lifting each other up, to bringing each other along. This is evident in everything that I see our students do. And as you go through the next couple of months of getting to know students from Carolina and hearing more from Chris today, we hope that this will start to bubble up and resonate, and you'll see it in those examples and those anecdotes that students live and experience in Chapel Hill. I'm going to call out our core values because as you explore our application through this process, you will see that one of our application questions or short answer prompts is to select one of our 4 core values, the 4 I's: integrity, inclusion, innovation, and impact, and share an example of your professional past and how that particular core value resonates with and how you're going to bring that to campus with you as a member of the MBA community. So, a couple of really fun things before we hear from Chris that are happening here in Chapel Hill. Last spring, we did open a brand new building called Bell Hall. We did not lose a building. We actually gained a brand new learning environment, which is very student-centric. One of the oldest public schools in the country, very hard to find land to build, brand new state-of-the-art buildings from the ground up. And we were lucky at UNC that they found this the right space for us here at Kenan-Flagler. So it is incredibly technical building, very, very student centric, as I said, all of your resources, centers of excellence, as well as indoor outdoor learning is encompassed in the entire building experience. So we hope that you'll come and visit and get to see how our students are really settling in and taking advantage of this beautiful, beautiful building. We also, in a couple of weeks, will be launching a redesign of our MBA curriculum. This is something that you should see your MBA programs that you're exploring going through every 8 to 10 years. And we are really excited for the class of 2028 to be experiencing the relaunch of our MBA curriculum. It's going to be very career-centric, really taking a hard look at what do students need to be successful in all stages of their career development, their career pivot, their career next steps, depending on what that means for you and where you are in the process. So I'm going to unpack that a little bit, but really when you think about your first 2 semesters at UNC Kenan-Flagler, it's about increasing access to electives much earlier, being able to build out stronger technical and behavioral skills in the same classroom environments, applying those new skills and being able to test them out, practice them, try them on, and hear from each other what's working, what's not, and be able to learn in that repetitive cycle before you're on site at an internship. And then increasing that choice around what electives you take to be best prepared for the recruiting cycle and when you take those. And I'll unpack that a little bit. You'll see on the screen here 5 modules. We refer to those as mods. They're kind of like quarters. Every course at UNC Kenan-Flagler is about 8 weeks long. We start in August with preterm, as I mentioned. We're 2 days into orientation, which is super, super exciting. In the first module, you take all the same classes. This is your general management curriculum. In mods 2 and 3, this is where we're going to see some flexibility that our students, like Chris from the past, have not had before. You'll actually have the chance to choose and mix up your core required courses. So I may take strategy and operations in mod 2 and then take finance and cost analysis in mod 3. That is going to free up time for me to participate in electives that are very career centric, really grounded in what I need to be upskilling myself on, filling up my toolkit to be best prepared for where I am in that recruiting process. Whoops. And then we all come back together in module 4. I mentioned also an increase in data foundations, data analysis. This is a course that's been retooled and built out in alignment with our analytics faculty and our communications faculty. Not only do we need to make sure that students know how to ask questions and uncover data, but there's a huge storytelling piece to this, right? Especially when we think about that human in the loop mentality. How are we driving decision making? How are we communicating and driving strategy with the data-driven decisions we want people to be making? Some of our career electives in that first year that we'll be rolling out this coming fall, financial services, especially around investment banking and the different avenues within finance, a brand new casing course that's open to all students, and then some of our more traditional pathways that we have through our concentrations, which are kind of like a minor. They're a great roadmap. So that's real estate, healthcare, energy, the marketing, brand manage, product management side, operations. And then again, I mentioned a new casing elective that is open to all students, regardless of your career path and where you're focused on for that first year. I mentioned grounding you in that theory, really giving you the opportunities to practice. multiple ways to get those experiences, whether it's through the STAR program, which is a traditional project-based consulting class. We'll call it what it is, working with a real company, global immersion opportunities from a week on the ground to a whole semester. Traveling, as well as our student managed funds. There are 3 new funds launching this year, which is super exciting to be able to get your hands dirty in that environment. And then again, case competitions. Chris, real quick, I know you did a global immersion this past spring. Do you want to give us the high level of that?
Yeah, I had an opportunity to go to South Africa, and honestly, it was one of the highlights of my MBA experience. We went to Cape Town, Joburg, and one more city, I can't remember the name, but basically, we saw about 10 businesses, local businesses, and getting that experience kind of showed you how the economy runs in the developing countries, and hitting the safari. It was just an amazing highlight of my career in MBA.
That's awesome. And Chris's global immersion was part of something we call the Better Deans Fellows. This represents about 10% of our MBA class each year. And it is a select set of students that are choosing to really focus, in addition to their MBA curriculum and MBA experiences, on their individual personal leadership style. Chris, do you want to tell just real quick a little bit more about what it meant to you to be a part of that Better Deans Fellow cohort?
Yeah, for the better day, we focus on leadership. So for me, what I got out of the program is basically like cultivating yourself and becoming a better leader. And they had different tools for us to learn and develop our skills as leaders. And we were expected to be some of the top performers on campus and also to be an exemplary for the school and represent exactly what UNC is trying its students to represent.
Yeah, such a unique chance to walk through your leadership development style and growth, which is very individual, but also amongst 20 or so classmates that are all experiencing these different stages and support systems at the same time, and then have a capstone trip together to a part of the world. This year's class, second years, is headed down to New Zealand, which will be really exciting. I'm going to jump ahead to the clubs because I think one that's really important for us to call out is why we're here today. UNC Kenan-Flagler has a really, really strong consortium presence. We are entering our 53rd year as a consortium school member, and we actually have a club on campus that works across all of our other identity clubs, and is a part of the MBA Student Association as well. Chris was the former president of the club, and you can see here on the screen our incoming second year executive board. So hopefully you'll get a chance to visit campus or join a future webinar to get to know these folks. Chris, before I flip to the next page, anything you want to highlight about your experience as consortium member on campus at UNC and in your leadership role?
Yeah, you mentioned how UNC the consortium club is very unique, that it is an actual club and we get funds, right? And what this enables us to do on campus is to host host events for the students. I remember serving as the president. We had a paint and sip event. We had tutoring sections from some of the students. Part of your MBA experience is making sure you understand finance and accounting. And we have professors who are willing to tutor us, and also students who have advanced experiences in those different courses to tutor some of our students who may need help. And we try to build a community, and one of the ways we do so, we do a holiday toy drive, and we were able to raise over $3,000, and it organized a lot of the students. Students from were bringing in toys, donating money, and by the end of the event, we were able to raise a lot of money and a lot of toys for the local elementary school. And so during Christmas time, each kid was able to receive a toy from the selected elementary school.
I love that. It is an event I look forward to. I know I'm running out of time, so I'm going to skip forward really, really quick. I just want to highlight, as Michelle went through the application, you'll find with UNC, there are a few components to our application that are not a part of the consortium application. So you will need to create an application for us over at UNC. One of those are if you are interested in pursuing and be considered for a GMAT or a GRE test waiver, that does have to happen in our application, as well as our video essay prompt. This is an introduction video and then a question from a question bank, which I'm happy to talk about more when we get to meet down the road. But you will have to submit those to via the UNC website. So I like to call that out. We can share more on that later. And I'm a little over. I'm sorry, Michelle.
Was that it, Katie? That's actually
Yeah,
perfect
we're good.
timing.
Everything else
Great.
is
Awesome.
applications, tips. We're good.
Awesome. Thank you.
We're all good.
Yes.
Thanks, guys. Thanks,
If
Chris.
if anyone has questions, please let us know. I did get a couple of questions in the Q&A box about the specific member school essays. And yes, you will need to complete our consortium core essays as well as all of the program materials for the schools you're applying to, including their essays. So wanted to make sure I clarified that. And with that, Noe, I'll hand it over to you now.
Perfect. Thank you so much. All right. I am sharing my screen now. Can you all see that okay?
Yes.
Perfect. All right. Well, um, I'll just quickly reintroduce myself. Noe Baldovino, Strategic Partnerships and Inclusion Associate Director at the Foster School. And with me, Jackie, you got to hear from her earlier. And towards the end of my presentation, you'll hear a little bit more about her journey and story at UW Foster as well. And I'll go ahead and start with Seattle. So the Foster School of Business is located in Seattle. And Seattle is home to major companies like Amazon, Microsoft, Boeing, Alaska Airlines, Nordstrom, and Starbucks, and a couple other large corporations. So it's a really great place to be. It's heavily diverse, and if you enjoy the outdoors, hiking, kayaking, it's also a phenomenal place that really gives you all four seasons, not as intense as you might experience elsewhere, but it's a really great place to be all year round. So I like to start with that, and now going into why Foster. So the Foster School of Business is highly ranked. It's very team driven, and I'll go into these bullet points here down the presentation, but I just want to lay out a little bit of what you will be learning about today. So I'll share a little bit about the class size. We are a fairly small program, and I'll share those stats in the next couple of slides, with plenty of leadership opportunities at the Foster School where you can contribute and start doing work as you learn and apply what you're actually learning in the classroom into projects like applied strategy or within your internship and whatnot. So I'll share a little bit about what that impact looks like. But to share a little bit about our tuition, we are a great ROI program based on what we are for tuition and what students are placing after the program. But I wanted to also highlight some of our partnerships, as you can see here below. Consortium, Access, Reaching Out, Forte, and one that's not here but's also a partner is MLT as well. So I'll just leave this here, but if you have any questions about our commitment to these partnerships and how that plays effect at the Foster School, I'm happy to also highlight those aspects of Foster. So we are placed in an excellent location for an ROI, have been placed #1 for full-time MBA program in the Northwest, and number 20 for the full-time MBA nationwide, according to US News and World Report. So I'll just leave these demographics here. And because I do have quite a bit of slides to get through, I want to make sure that you are getting all the information with as little time as we have. But we will have a little bit of time to answer more specific questions on some of the questions that you may have based on what we're sharing. So this next slide is really highlighting post-MBA employment opportunities, including industries and functions. While we do draw a lot of students into the Seattle area and the MBA program for their interest in large tech and or consulting firms, all across the board, our students are choosing Foster for a variety of reasons. We have admitted students that come from nonprofit background as well as education and healthcare as well. So these are just the functions and industries that we tend to draw students that are interested in placing in particular areas. As you can see, we have 84% of the students, alumni that stay in the Seattle area. And that's because a lot of the students do want to stay in the Seattle area and set their roots there. However, 16% venture out of the Seattle area, and that's something that we also assist students in venturing out, alongside with career management and support in that journey when you are looking at your future career, whether it's consulting, big tech, and Seattle or beyond Seattle as well. So, talking about career management, these are just some of the companies and industries that our career management does partner up with. Earlier, I mentioned that Seattle is home to some of the major companies, including Starbucks, T-Mobile, Alaska Airlines, and such. And our career management does a really great job in supporting your journey while in the program and before you start the program, all the way up to graduation. So we support students that are interested in either their own startups, their own ventures, all the way up to Fortune 500 companies, small boutique firms, or consulting firms that are also located in the area or beyond. So this slide is really just to show you a little bit of the companies where career management tends to foster relationships and also equip our students with the knowledge to explore new career opportunities if they are looking to pivot and or also provide company treks at some of these companies, which tend to happen about 5 times a year. We are a fairly small program in terms of the academic approach. Students have the opportunity to do experiential-based learning opportunities through case competitions that happen through the Burke Center for Entrepreneurship. The most popular ones are the Alaska Airlines Case Competition or the Holloman Health Competition. There are other departments at the Foster School that support students in their journey throughout the program. With the Consulting and Business Development Center, you have the Board Fellows Program, which really equips students to have a seat at the table where decisions are being made at the C-suite, and you get to be involved in that process. We also have Ascent Fellows, and that's also within the Consulting and Business Development Center, along with the Burke Center for Entrepreneurship. When it comes to the customized curriculum, only the first year is customized with the core classes. However, we do not have a set track required because once you hit the second year, you will get to customize your curriculum based on what you want to get out of the program. And that will come through electives and conversations with career management or your academic advisor. Here are some of the classes that you can anticipate within the first year and also electives within the second year. We have over 80 electives to choose from. Electives generally tend to be in the evening or depending on when it's offered, whereas the core curriculum is generally all throughout the day. In the evenings, students do tend to get involved with student clubs. So it's a really busy schedule, and students are definitely not encouraged to work while they are pursuing the full-time MBA with us. It is collaborative in nature. We are a small cohort. Class of 2027 is 102 students or so. Generally, we tend to be a small class, and that's how students really feel that they can succeed at the foster school. So we go off of a learning and growing mentality. While a lot of the learning is happening in the classroom, a lot of it will happen outside of the classroom as well from your peers. At Foster, we believe that DEI is everybody's work. So when you are connecting with career management, classroom conversations, admissions, student affairs, we all believe that we have a place to basically advocate for DEI. And that's the mentality that we come into Foster with. And those are the students that we're also attracting because a lot of the students coming to Foster are looking at creating big change, not just for themselves, but for the greater community as well. And you can see some of our partnerships as well here. And with our partnerships and making diversity one of our priorities, I do want to quickly mention that we do have Fostering MBA Access, which is our diversity weekend happening November 19th and 20th. So we will have that event in our recruiting calendars. So stay tuned for that and happy to share more about that throughout today's presentation. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on the class profile. This is really just to give you a sense of what we have to offer. And happy to dive more into what we are looking for if you are interested in a one-on-one informational interview after today as well. But when it comes to fostering connections and community, I do want to share this last slide before I hand it over to Jackie to share a little bit about her experience. But we do have a couple student ambassadors that help us do the work of inclusion and access at the Foster School. And you can reach out to any of our student ambassadors, Nalani, Sheree, Wynn, Susan, Salinas. And of course, I manage our diversity partnerships. So if you are interested in learning more about the community of Consortium at Foster, I'm happy to connect with you as well on that behalf. And with that, I will pass it over to Jackie to share a little bit about her journey at Foster. I'll pass it over to Jackie.
Sounds good. Thank you, Noi. I guess to give you all a little bit of background on why I decided to go to Foster. So I graduated from Stanford for my undergrad, and then I spent 5 years working in tech in the Bay Area. I really, really enjoyed that experience, but I did realize that I wanted to pivot more into product marketing. So after looking at all the options out there and all the schools, I realized that Foster was the ideal program for me. And there's a few reasons why I decided that Foster was great. One of the main things that really caught my attention was their applied strategy program, which you do it in the winter quarter. And pretty much you are able to, in some way, do a consulting project with a company in the area. And as Noé mentioned, there's so many great companies here in Seattle, including Microsoft, Blue Origin, Amazon. So the projects that you get to be a part of are very involved, and you get to learn a lot from this very, very large companies in the area. Another thing that Noé already mentioned was that the program is relatively small. So I wanted to be in a program where I got to know everyone there. I got to know my professors by name, and they also knew who I was. And I think that I was able to get that out of the Foster program. I would say the other thing that was really amazing was the different clubs and that you could be a part of. I am a consortium member, but also I was a liaison. And through the program, I got to meet a lot of students with similar backgrounds as me, but also that came just from different industries and that I could learn from a lot. So every time we had a finance test, there was always someone in the consortium that had that finance background to help us succeed. So it really became very similar to like a family. And I would say the transition to the MBA can be very difficult, especially if you have been working for many years or you have to move across state. So finding a program where you can build a community is very, very important. Overall, I would say that I had an amazing experience at Foster. So if you have any other questions, feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn or even reach out to Noé and he can provide my email. But yeah, that's a little bit about my experience.
All right.
Thank you so much, Jackie.
Thank you, Noah, and thank you, Jackie. And then last but not least, I'll hand it over to Sharon to take us away with Duke Fuqua School of Business.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, everyone. I will share my screen and then get us started. So, hello, everyone. Again, Sharon Thompson here, Assistant Dean of Admissions for the Fuqua School of Business at Duke University. It is really our pleasure to be here this evening with you to just give you some highlights about the Fuqua School and just more about our community, our culture, our curriculum, the career support, and definitely our community. So wanted to take this time to also introduce a couple of our outstanding students, current students, consortium fellows, Jasmine and Lila. They are part of our very first cohort. Fuqua, we have just now enrolled our second cohort of consortium fellows this year. And Lila and Jasmine were part of our first cohort of consortium fellows. So Jasmine and Lila, if you may come off of mute and introduce yourself.
Yes, indeed. Hi, everyone. So happy to be here. My name is Jasmine Macklin. I am from Chicago, Illinois. I went to Hampton University for undergrad. Prior to Fuqua, I worked in clinical research at the University of Chicago, working on leukemia phase 1, phase 2 clinical trials. I then pivoted to tech, where I worked at Microsoft as a project manager for a couple of years. I decided on Fuqua because I wanted to be able to marry both of my passions, technology and healthcare. I felt like it was the best place where I can foster that passion. I am currently interning at my last week at Humana, and I am able to really flourish within what I exactly wrote my MBA essays on, integrating technology within healthcare. And I also just received my full-time offer at Humana. This opportunity was granted through the consortium. So I feel like this is really a full circle, and I'm so grateful to be here.
Wonderful. Thank you, Jasmine, and congratulations. Lila, are you able to introduce yourself?
Yes, of course. First, I want to give my friend Jasmine congratulations. Yay, that's so exciting for your full-time offer. Hello, everyone. My name is Lila Jalilian, and along with Jasmine, I'm a second year at Duke Fuqua. I received my bachelor's in public health from UC Berkeley in 2017, and for 8 years pre-MBA, I worked in the global public health space, running programming in Guatemala, Belize, and Thailand for an organization similar to Doctors Without Borders, but on a smaller scale. And then most recently managing healthcare corporate partnerships for the City of Boston's Workforce Development Board. The reason I chose Fuqua was one, for the people. The community that we have at Fuqua is absolutely amazing. The people that you will meet in class, in clubs, I've learned from even just going through the application process were the type of people that I not only wanted to be my professional network, but the people that I wanted to be lifelong friends with. And I really felt that through every interaction that I had with the Fuqua community. Right now, I am just finishing up my internship at Cisco doing social impact investments. And I also got this opportunity through the consortium. I interviewed with them at OP. And finishing up my internship this week. So haven't gotten the return offer yet, but hoping it's also a full circle moment for me too. Thanks, everyone.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Lila. So again, we're really excited to be here. And so as we kind of talk about, what is a key differentiator for Fuqua and what makes our community so special. And so if you've done any preliminary research, you probably have heard the term of Team Fuqua. And Team Fuqua represents kind of our way of working. We really believe in attracting and nurturing a new type of business leader, one that can draw upon the experiences and the differences of others to really move toward a common goal, to move a whole team forward. So what you will see here on the screen are some photos highlighted from OP this past year. And we are really proud of the class. We have a class of, our incoming class is about 65 incoming consortium fellows. And I think Lala and Jasmine's class was a class of about 75. So we're just really proud of the strength of our consortium classes in the first 2 years of being in the consortium. So when we think, I know there are a lot of words on this screen. I promise I'm not going to read this to you, but one of the things that we really value is, went the wrong direction, was really strength and collective insight. We, again, really drawn upon the differences in each other really is what makes our community so unique and so special. We believe that every individual person brings unique attributes, backgrounds, lived experiences, and from that we bring all of these individuals together in a classroom, which makes the learning, the experience, the entire 2-year MBA experience more immersive, more collaborative, and really unique and special. So just a few snapshots of our classes and members of our community. So as we talk about the daytime program, really wanted to just introduce you to what the daytime MBA program looks like. How does this daytime MBA experience really shape up? So again, 2 year MBA program. We are full-time, top-ranked MBA program consistently, and again, looking to grow and nurture that new type of leader, that that can really draw on the unique perspectives that others bring. You will have a core curriculum that is 14 core classes that are required. And you will see that throughout the first year, that's the first year you will finish all of your core classes. But before you finish your first year, you will be able to immerse yourself into elective coursework. We have over 100 electives for our students to be able to choose from, and really gives you an opportunity to really customize that MBA experience. We have, when you want to transition to to like what you're doing in the classroom to thinking about how do you prepare for careers. Then we have a dedicated career resources that are available to you. We really start with our consortium fellows really early, soon after you're admitted in the spring. You really get connected to our career management center, and they really start working with you even before you've said yes that you're coming to Fuqua. We really start working with you early in terms of how we can assist you and prep you and help you get ready for the orientation program. And as you can see, we've had great success from our 2 students here at OP. Then there's the extracurriculars, over 60 clubs and organizations, really student led. This gives you an opportunity to really practice leadership, but also dive into areas that you're really passionate about. And so again, with over 60 clubs and organizations, you really have to be careful and map out your time. What does our community look like? Who will you be studying with? This is a snapshot of Lila and Jasmine's class, our Rising second year class. We are still putting the final touches on our profile for our incoming students that just started, but this just gives you an idea. These are numbers on a screen, but really that show the diversity and the makeup of our community, coming from all types of backgrounds and different backgrounds that are represented in our community. Again, that really makes the experience in our community unique and stand out. So you can look at this and really try to dive in deep, or you can really say that this is just one snapshot of the class profile. There's no one specific profile that we're looking for in a student, but as you can see, there are lots of ranges here, and as well as we're really proud of the representation of diversity that we have in our class each year from both domestic and international students, and the different types of backgrounds and lived experiences that are represented. So as far as the curriculum, I want to kind of dive back there a little bit. So we offer concentrations. There are 14 different concentrations that you can choose from. You can choose to have 0 concentrations, or you can have 2 concentrations, or you may elect to have 1 concentration and 1 certificate. Again, Fuqua really gives you that opportunity to really customize that MBA experience. When you leave Fuqua, you will have the MBA that's really crafted for you to really align with your passions and your interests, and to really to align with your post-MBA career goals. We also offer 5 dual degree programs here, dual degree programs with other graduate programs at Fuqua or at Duke University. And that we can certainly talk about the application process for that. There are 2 separate applications to apply to both of those programs if you're interested in dual degree. So outside of the classroom, there are a number of experiential opportunities. So everything from being able to serve on a nonprofit board as a non-voting member, to participating in international travel experiences through the Global Academic Travel Experience, where you are studying about a particular region and country of the world, and then traveling there for a couple of weeks to really immerse yourself in that culture and learn how business is done in those areas, to the Fuqua Client Consultant Practicum, where you really are working with a team of other students to really solve problems and issues for companies and organizations that may be seeking some additional support in helping advance or solve an issue or need for their organization. Then we also have our research centers. This is another opportunity for all of our students, regardless of whether you're looking to focus in healthcare or looking to focus in social impact. The services and research and the services are available to all of our students. And certainly some of our students that are focusing in this area really find these centers as a great resource, as we bring practitioners in these industries as well as our faculty together. And then we layer that with our students, and just gives them a great access and information and resources. So we talked a little bit about our career services, and again, just a great career management center that's going to really work with you to not only help you prepare for that first job, that first internship, or that first job after business school, but really helping you to giving you the tools and the resources to really manage the lifetime of your career. These are a few of the outcomes, the career outcomes that you can see in terms of the companies that have recruited our MBA students. And we're just really proud of the companies that come to recruit, as well as the success that our students have had with these companies. So in terms of the community there, you'll have your students that you're studying with, you have the staff that will be supporting you, your faculty that's supporting you, but you're also really getting access to a greater network, a large alumni network that as a Fuqua student, you not only have the resources of the Fuqua community, the Fuqua alumni community, but you also have access to the Duke community. And one of the things from one of the last slides that I presented in terms of the research centers, the Duke Innovation and Entrepreneurship Center is really the hub of everything that happens in the entrepreneurship space at Duke University is housed right here at the business school. And again, we're tapping into entrepreneurs and practitioners and leaders in this space from all of the university and not just from the Fuqua alumni, but also the alumni, the Duke University alumni. So we just wanted to give you a highlight here. I'm trying to run through all the slides. I know we're almost out of time, but these are the 6 components that when you think about what you're preparing for, again, at Fuqua, we give you the option to take 3 different exams. We don't have a preference for any of the exams. When it comes to your work experience, we're going to look at your quality over your quantity of work experience. From leadership and involvement, we want to see how you're engaged in our community. I shared that we have over 60 clubs and organizations, and our students are involved as leaders, as impact players, and we want to attract those same type of students to Fuqua, students that are going to be leaders. So we want to see what you've done, and we want to hear about that in your application. We have our famous Random 25 essay that is our favorite essay to read, and hopefully it will be your favorite essay to write. But that's one of the things, and that is part of the consortium application. So that is already embedded within the consortium application. You will fill out that Random 25 essay for us. We only require 1 letter of recommendation, and I know you have more than that with your consortium application, but we will give you an opportunity to tell us which of those consortium recommendations you would like for us to consider. And then interviews are conducted by our second year students in person, and then virtually we have second year students that conduct virtual interviews as well as our alumni. Regardless of who conducts your interview, they carry the same weight. This is a quick snapshot. You already know the consortium deadlines, but I just want this chart to just highlight for you how your deadline, how the first deadline fits in with our round 1, kind of the timeline for when you would receive your decisions for both round 1 and round 2. And then we have these multi-day on-campus events, and we like to call our Inclusive Excellent Weekends. This is an amazing opportunity for you to come and visit our campus and learn more about our communities. We partner with a number of our affinity clubs to host these weekends, and we just invite you, if you can and your schedule will permit, we'd love to have you on campus for one of these events. So we look forward to staying in touch. I know this has been a quick, fast, rapid presentation, but we're right at time, and I want to make sure we leave time for Q&A. And I really want to thank Lila and Jasmine again for joining me. And if we have time for questions, I'm sure they will be happy to answer.
Thank you all very much. And so one of the questions we had, Sharon, you did answer as part of your presentation. So if a program member school only requires 1 letter of recommendation, they will allow you to select which one from our program materials that you would like for them to see. Another question that came in was about submitting the program materials on the deadline. So I do want to clarify that all the programs follow our deadlines, October 15th and January 5th. And so you will have to submit all the materials for consortium as well as for your programs by one of those 2 deadlines. And that will be dispersed over to the member schools for review. Now, given that we are at time, I know everyone shared a way to stay connected, but if you'd like to put in the chat one last time your email or the inbox where our prospective students can reach you, I think that would be a great great way to close today's session. All right. Thank you all very much, and hope to see you again at our virtual MAPS event or an upcoming MAPS event this season. And best of luck to all of you. And thank you to all of our panelists today for participating. Have a great evening.